Hey Alan, it's Cyrus. Finally get you this video. Sorry it's taking so long. The program changed and I had to relearn it. So um, anyhow, hopefully I addressed most of your questions on this video and that we can get you on the straight and narrow. So if you do have any additional questions, feel free to call, text, email, and then when you arrive we can also dig into any questions you may have. So to get started, I've already sent you all the stuff. I can send it again, but I'll go ahead and start off with the process summarized here. First and foremost, what you've already done, pre-approval to get qualified. I've already been talking with Dustin and Mike and those guys on what you're qualified for. Second, meet with Realtor, which we haven't done. We're going to try and do it right now, but what I really want to dive into is the process, the cost involved. So first and foremost is, even though the VA is a zero down loan, you still have out-of-pocket costs. You're going to have, your first cost is going to be earnest money. And as you can see down here, earnest money is typically 1% of the purchase price of the home. This is a good faith deposit that you're going to perform through the contract and continue through the contract as you've agreed to by the terms and stipulations of the contract. If you walk away for no reason, you've damaged the seller and they get to keep that earnest money. But in the contract, I build addendums in that property or in that contract to protect you. So home inspection, financing, optional clauses, anything I need to. If there's a septic, I put a septic addendum in there, anything that there could be. If you need to walk away, we get your earnest money back that way. The Northwest MLS contracts are typically built to protect the buyer, so it's hard for you to lose your earnest money anymore. This money does come back to you at the end once you close. You can either have it as a check brought back to you, a credit towards your closing costs, or a down payment if you would like. So that's your first expense. That's due within 2 business days. Given your situation, if you're to be buying from Korea, then it would be a wire transfer. But you'll probably be here in the event that we need to get a cashier's check from you, or a check. Next is your home inspection. Home inspection is a cost that I incur as a business item for me and a closing gift to you guys. Typically about $450 on average in between. And so you don't have to worry about that. Appraisal. Being you're with Mike and those guys, they build an appraisal fee into the loan for you, so that way that's another out-of-pocket cost you don't have to deal with. Most lenders are going to charge you up front, but with Mike and those guys, they realize the burden of out-of-pocket costs for you, so they've built it into the loan for you. The biggest cost that you're going to have to deal with is your closing costs. Closing costs are typically 3% of the purchase price, and this is your cost. These are buyer's closing costs. This is an HGTV where it's all paid for by the seller anymore, especially in our market, which is a complete seller's market. And we'll go over markets here in a second. But a lot of people don't have 3% of $300,000 to be paying off, 9, 10, 11 grand. Mike and those guys can refine it down quite a bit depending on the purchase price, but you're looking at a higher cost there. So what we could do is, if you don't have the money to spend out of pocket, is to build that price, or build those closing costs into the purchase price, so you're financing it. So for example, if you're buying a $300,000 house and we need the closing costs paid for, and say it's a brand new house on the market, the sellers aren't going to pay your closing costs. What we could do is go back and say, well, I have $9,000 in closing costs. We're going to build on top of the purchase price $309,000. That way you're financing it, and the seller pays your closing costs up front, and you're just paying them back for it. And that way you just have you're financing your closing costs in the end. That's typically how we get around it. So those are all your costs involved right up front. So moving on. Home search. We've already set you up in the MLS. I've already started sending you properties. When you get an actual phone number for when you arrive here and you have a phone, you'll be able to download the app, which will directly link into the MLS, so you can start searching on your phone, sending me messages about properties, that kind of thing. Earnest money due, we've already explained, that's due within 2 business days, the home inspection. If you buy a property, whether you're here or buy it before you arrive, I attend the home inspections. And the home inspector is going to go through the property and he's going to check. Now, it's not a requirement, but it is highly recommended that you have the home inspection. Now, I'm paying for it anyway. So the home inspector is going to check the roof, siding, the crawl space, the attic, electrical, plumbing, everything he's going to check, and in the end he's going to give you a report to discuss all the problematic items. Now, every house is going to have a lot of issues with it. It's just the nature of houses, and anything products being made. What I typically go for is all the expensive items. So if it needs a new roof, or there's a cracked foundation, or the electrical panels or recall panel, whatever it is, the high cost items are the ones that we focus on. And the little ones you kind of deal with as just part of home ownership. But everything's negotiable at that point. We have the addendum to back you out if need be. My home inspectors are very thorough over the years. I've narrowed down to who works the best. So certified through the state and everything. The appraisal. Now, the appraisal is a requirement of the VA. This is mandatory. The VA appraiser is going to make sure that the property is safe, sound, and sanitary. So no broken windows, exposed wiring, no chipping paint. It's got to have a stove. Those kind of things. It can't have tons of moss on the roof. Not only do they do that, they also make sure that the property is of value. So this is important in our market, in the heavy veteran market. I have to coach realtors all the time how the benefits of a VA appraisal is, because they have what's called Tidewater. Tidewater is a chance for the appraiser to announce to us, the listing agent and myself, that he's not finding enough comparable sales to justify the price. Usually, in theory, this is good for you in the sense that, cool, we can get the price back down. But if the seller's not willing to bring that price back down, which is, if they don't, you get the option to walk away, and you still really want the house, then we can go back and try and help the listing agent and seller justify the price so they have the numbers in their profile to continue this deal moving forward. Some of my buyers want me to do that, some of them don't. It all depends on you. And I do my own market analysis to say the appraiser was wrong in here, or he's right on this. So it's a huge benefit to you. Either way, you're protected. Throughout this whole process, it's a 30-day process on average to close on a VA loan, most loans in general. We're looking at about 30 days from start to finish once we have you under contract. During this process, it's 30 days of hell. You're going to have to submit documentation over and over and over, bank statements, job verification, all that kind of stuff. And this is government regulation coming down on the banks from predatory lending that occurred back in the housing crisis. It's annoying, it's tedious, but 30 days of paperwork hell. Once you're over it, you got to hand you the keys and it's all over with. So during this process, don't quit your job, don't go buy cars, don't go buy furniture, washer and dryer. This adds to your debt to income ratios, and it can kill your deal, or it can cause a lot of problems. So you're kind of on a financial lockdown right now until you've closed and I've handed you those keys. Given your situation, transferring, you'll have to just do the best you can. Talk with Mike and those guys, ask questions, because they'll always respond what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what bills you should pay off, what you shouldn't pay off, that kind of stuff, because it can cause havoc. But they're your best go-to source. Once we get you clear to close, I hand you the keys. It's officially yours. I just went over the do's and do nots. I've already sent you this stuff, but I'll send it again. This kind of goes over the process of how everything goes through. Once you do come over here, I'll have you download something what is called HomeSpotter. This is an application you can download to your phone, and this allows us to communicate through the app. So you can send me a property, I can look at the details, ask questions, negotiate with the listing agent, whatnot. The benefit of this app is it's not Zillow, Trulia, and Redfin, and why I say that is because those are third-party websites that get their information from other third-party sources. The information is delayed, inaccurate, and it's just not, it's a good resource, but it's not reliable, especially when in a very competitive market like we're in right now. So you need to take advantage of anywhere we can. This is really shown to be effective with my clients. Markets. As you can see in our market down here, in 2014, tons of inventory, not a lot of sales, low pendings, and then all of a sudden Microsoft, Google, Amazon, all these tech companies came up from Silicon Valley. Brother companies, sister companies, parent companies came along and just devoured our housing economy. As you can see, there's just a swift cut in our inventory, and that's where we've seen similar markets to San Francisco is over here, is in Seattle. Excuse me, Pierce County is basically the last affordable and large metropolitan area in Washington, so our inventory has gotten gobbled up. However, this year we've seen a nice little spike in inventory, which we've seen kind of across the nation, and it's starting to suggest that we're in a housing correction. Not a crash, not a bubble. You can read articles all over the internet that will explain this isn't really going to be a crash. The housing market has been corrected. The housing crash back in 2007, 2008 was due to predatory lending. So much regulation just came in to prevent that from happening again. What this basically means is the housing appreciation levels were sitting between 6 and 11% in Pierce County, which is, people are getting $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 year over year on the value of their house, which is nice, but it's not so good for the buyers right now. The levels are going to basically balance off to what is a typical norm of 3%, 3 to 4% year over year in a housing market. So levels, housing prices shouldn't drop too much if they do at all. Just the appreciation is going to slow down. So that's our market right now. This particular chart is for Pierce County. In the event you buy in Lacey, that's going to be over in Thurston County. This is their market as well. As you can see, they're starting to see a little bit of correction too, not as fast as Pierce County. First started off at Seattle, works its way to Tacoma, and then Pierce County, then over to Thurston County. So those are the markets. I'll go over this other stuff later. For now, I'm going to go ahead and jump over into Joint Base Lewis McChord. As you can see on this map, this whole region right here is Lacey, Olympia. A lot of military do live in this area. The only problem with Lacey is you have this one corridor right here, which is the only real highway to get into Pierce County and up north. Joint Base Lewis McChord, Pierce County, King County, all that stuff. And it kind of bottlenecks right here. This is where you have a lot of slowdown. I used to live down here in Lacey at an apartment when I first got here. What should have been 10, 15 minutes, sometimes took me 30, 45 minutes just to get to main gate right here. I was over here at 2-3 Infantry. So, but again, there's affordability, a lot of military there. It's not a bad option. So it also depends how deep you are in Lacey. Down here in Lacey, you have a little bit older developments, and then you have a lot of mixed new old developments. This region north of I-5 is a lot of brand new communities, a lot of new shopping centers, stuff like that are going in. But if you were to come down here to Yelm, great affordability. The only problem with Yelm is basically the route. What appears to be in the backyard of Joint Base Lewis McChord here, it's 2-lane highways to get in and get out both directions. And so any traffic, all the military that live down there and all the civilians that live down there coming in and out of there, and so it's a slow drive. Windy roads, that kind of thing. You can definitely come in here to, there's a Roy gate that you can access, or it opens and closes sometimes. I don't know if it's ever open all the time, but Eastgate Road entrance is right here. The actual gate is further in, which is your back gate to Joint Base Lewis McChord. Let's see here. I'll change my map over so you can see what I'm talking about. So here's Joint Base Lewis McChord. It's pretty big. Eastgate's actually in here. These are all firing ranges out here. This is a nice, most people are going to use this East Gate right here to access Puyallup, Spanaway, oops, wrong map, sorry. Somewhere around here. I didn't plan how I was going to go through the maps here. But anyway, try to make it easier for you. You have a lot of people from move out here in the Graham, Frederickson, South Hill, Puyallup area and Spanaway. Very highly populated military area as well. And so this is the main gate to get into Fort Lewis that way. Tons of deals out here, affordability. Puyallup is a little bit higher end, newer communities, a lot of shopping. Everything you're going to need is on Meridian. Meridian, the traffic is a nightmare. They have so many businesses that were built in there too fast for what the roads can accommodate. And so the benefit here is you never have to leave. You have everything you need right here. So a lot of brand new communities over here and a lot of older communities as well. DuPont's over here, one of the most highly sought after cities that military go after. It's practically an all military town. Majority of people that live there are military. Small town, you don't even have to touch I-5, which is nice. I-5 has a lot of traffic, especially around Joint Base Lewis McChord. But here you can just cross the highway and get right directly onto post, and it's a pretty neat town. It's just they don't have a lot of inventory. As you can see, it's pretty small. You have North Gate right here, main gate entrance, DuPont Gate. Over here is Madigan Gate, the Madigan Army Hospital. I don't know where all the units are anymore. It's been so long. I know 2nd Division's over here, like Ranger Bats. I don't really want to explain too much. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble explaining where things are on here, but you have the field, the PX or commissary and all that stuff's right over here, main gate. And then you have the McChord entry to the Air Force. Their main gate's right here, or I'm sorry, right here. Their East Gate is right here, and their access to East Gate is over here from Spanaway. Not that that really matters to you, but there's another access point to Joint Base Lewis McChord from over here. So that's Fort Lewis as a whole. It's pretty big, multiple gates. There's a lot of small gates throughout here too, but nevertheless, you're going to hear people talk a lot of crap about Lakewood. Don't believe word of mouth. I used to believe everyone that Spanaway sucked, Lakewood sucked. Every city has crime. Every city is going to have good crime, good areas, bad areas. Legally, we're not allowed as realtors to tell you what's good or bad neighborhoods. It's called steering, and we can lose our license over it. And I'm not going to throw myself on video and tell you, but I think it's ridiculous because you guys have to come in and out of here without knowing it, without any reference. So what I've done is found some of the best sites that you can go to look at crime. One of the maps I like more is Realtor.com's map. It's a little exaggerated to me personally. But our heavy crime is Hilltop. It's been infamous for having a lot of crime over there, as you can see on the map here. But it's just a visual aid, kind of give you a nice overview of what crimes are like in the area. As you can see, it's everywhere. More crime in certain areas than others, or Seattle. The one that I've used on my website, which I'll show you links to in a second, is Trulia Crimes. This kind of hones in a little bit more. This is a shopping center right here. So you're going to have a lot of like petty theft stuff. Tillicum is across the street from Fort Lewis, which is this region. So that's right there. But there's other parts of Lakewood that are close to base, really nice areas to be, hospitals over here. I think a lot of people really enjoy it. There's a really large park, Fort Tillicum Park. Huge dog park, trails, playing. There's like a giant playing castle there for the kids. Lots of trails and whatnot. Once we get up into the quality of life, is what I like to say, is in North Tacoma. So you do have Hilltop and stuff over here, but you also have the second largest urban park, Point Defiance Park, right here. You have a ton of new shopping developments over here, shopping restaurants. You have a bunch of restaurants on the water down here. And then you have downtown Tacoma. And then you have a lot of parks along the water here as well. Gig Harbor, that kind of stuff. We have an interchange right here, Highway 16 and I-5. If you keep going up I-5, this will take you all the way up to Seattle. About from North Tacoma, which is where I'm at, is basically about an hour from where I'm at. If you take 16, this will take you up into Port Orchard, Bremerton, where all the naval yards are, and put you on the 101 if you ever want to do road trips around the Puget Sound and the tip of the Pacific Northwest. So that's it for the process, the areas of the crime. If you're looking into schools, Realtor.com has this little tab here. You can click on schools. You can check off what you want, what you don't want. Say if you just want to search high schools, school ratings. Honestly, I don't have kids, so I don't know. Word of mouth is Puyallup is a high school and university place, but they're expensive areas. But looking at this map, it looks like a lot of schools all over are generally in not bad shape. So that's research for you to do on your own. Let's see here, what else? I've already got you set up in MLS, so I don't need to go over that. My website's the only other thing. If you do want resources for market updates, classes, which you don't have to really worry about, but you can come down here to crime. This will give you links to the Trulia. I'll update this. My whole website's getting redesigned here soon, so Realtor will be on here as well. Schools, another thing for schools is all these different links for ways that you can review the schools. Realtor.com is just an easier reference rather than going to each site. Market activity, this is a great spot for you to keep up with the markets monthly. This updates monthly to tell you what the markets are doing, for sale, sold, and pendings. These come out. I do a full monthly report out on this, which you should have been getting. Let's see if there's anything else I need to go over. Really, I guess me, I've been doing this 8 years, going on 9 in May, and then yeah, that's no one taught me how to do real estate. No one taught me how to buy real estate in the military. Got out and realized there was a demand for it because no one was teaching. No one was specifically military VA realtor, and so I was one of the first dedicated VA realtors in the nation, and I ran with it, and it's done me well. It's done my clients well, and I love doing it. As you can see, I don't want to gloat here year over year on sales, but you'll get a copy of this. I used to donate 5% of my commission to military and animal charities, but this year I've redesigned it to help the veteran directly, and that's by paying for your home inspection. I do have, you can find my reviews all over the internet. You can just type in Cyrus Bonnet or VA Realtor, I'll always come up. Let me type in reviews, so it just does reviews. So if you were to come in here, you could see Google 5-star 34 reviews, 112 on Zillow 5-star. I'm with the BBB A+ accredited business. Facebook, I don't know why it doesn't show my Facebook reviews, but I have like 20 Facebook reviews or something like that, or 30. Overall, I'm qualified to do what I do. And then my designations. So here's all my designations. I was a nonprofit. I ran a nonprofit for a while, Veterans Association of Real Estate Professionals. They're all right there. I'll let you read them. If you have any questions about each individual certification award or anything, let me know. I don't want to hold you up. But there's the process. You're pre-approved. We have you in MLS, sending you properties. It's really just boiling down to you finding a property, and then whether you want to buy it before you arrive or when you arrive. It sounds like you're in the process of moving, so it's going to be while you're here. Just update me when it is you arrive, and I'll make sure to get that on my calendar. I'll add that in an email with this link, and hopefully this has been informative. If you have any other questions, just let me know. Thanks. Talk to you soon. Bye.